walked straight into danger. The darkness was a living thing, thick and suffocating. It pressed in on Jasper and Erohi from all sides, a silent, heavy blanket that muffled the sound of their own frantic heartbeats. Every shadow seemed to writhe with unseen life, and the cold air, smelling of damp earth and something else. Something ancient and metallic like old blood bit at their exposed skin. They clutched each other's hands, a small, shared point of warmth in the oppressive chill. Jasper, his knuckles white, tried to swallow the lump of fear in his throat, but it wouldn't budge. Erohi's breath hitched with every imagined creak and rustle that echoed in the vast, empty space around them. De Werelos, utterly and felt like it had been forgotten by the sun. The only guide they had, the only beacon in this sea of black, was a faint, pulsating light ahead. It was a door. Or at least, it had the shape of one, a perfect rectangle carved into what felt like a solid wall of rock, but this was no ordinary door. It didn't have a handle or hinges that they could see. Instead, it glowed with a soft, ethereal light, a mesmerizing, with a slow, steady rhythm, a slart. Intricate, unfamiliar symbols were etched across its surface, glowing with the same otherworldly energy. The light from the door didn't illuminate the surroundings. It seemed to absorb the darkness, drawing it into itself, making the shadows around its edges deeper and more menacing. It was beautiful and terrifying all at once, a siren's call in the abyss. It promised answers, it promised a way out, but it also whispered of things that were never meant for mortal eyes. Jasper, what is it? Erohi's voice was a barely audible whisper, fragile and trembling. She pulled her hand from his, wrapping her arms around herself as if to ward off not just the cold, but the strange, magnetic pull of the glowing portal. Her eyes, wide with a mixture of terror and fascination, were fixed on the shimmering patterns. I don't know, Jasper breathed back, his own voice hoarse. He took a hesitant step closer, his curiosity battling a primal instinct that screamed at him to run. The air grew colder the nearer he got, and a low hum vibrated through the solace of his worn-out sneakers. It's a gate. It feels old, older than anything. He could feel the power radiating from it, a silent thrum of energy that made the hairs on his arms stand on end. It felt like standing on the edge of a cliff, the wind promising a thrilling flight or a fatal fall. He knew, with a certainty that chilled him to the bone, that this was the gate that should never be opened. Yet they had come this far. The memory of how they got here was a blur of panicked running and twisting corridors that made no sense. Turning back was not an option. The path behind them was a void, swallowed by the same impenetrable darkness. There was only the path forward, through the impossible, glowing door. He looked at Erohi, her face pale in the strange, blue light. He saw his own fear reflected in her eyes, but he also saw a flicker of desperate hope. Without another word, he reached out, his trembling fingers brushing against the cool, smooth surface of the gate. As his hand made contact, the symbols flared. The hum intensified into a deep, resonant tone, and the glowing door slowly, silently, swung inward, revealing not an exit, but an endless, swirling vortex of stars and shadows, a path full of danger and without end. Walked straight into danger,